Well, hello, this is me, Silver the Whack, with my tutorial for a small Amigurumi Crochet Eagle. All of this will be in the PDF file in the description box below, and you can download it for free. I did not film everything, I just filmed some of it. This is the stuff that I used, but you can also use other colors, whatever suits your fancy. This is what I'll use for the eyes. That's a tapestry needle that I'll use to sew the parts together, but you can also use regular sewing needles. You just have to make more passes. That's what I wrote in the PDF file. That was what I'll use for stuffing. It's just cotton from the supermarket, and the black is to embroider the eyes if you're going that route. I spent more time on the head, like filming it, because I think that it sets the base for everything else. Okay? So this is how I make my magic ring. There are other ways, but this is just how I make mine. This is how I find it the easiest, and as you can see, I'm still fiddling around to get it. And it's kind of shiny because my phone is not very powerful. But basically, you go in, you pull up a loop, and then you pull through two. As you can see, this is a beginner to beginner tutorial, so maybe it will be helpful. Most of the basic stitches are in this, so if this is your first amigurumi project, I guess it's a good one, because most basic stitches are in this, I think. Even if for crochet in general, right? So this is 6 into the magic ring for the head, and it's the same for the body. This is me tightening the magic ring. That's how you do it. You tug at the end that is not attached to the ball of yarn, and depending on the material, it might be easier. This is acrylic yarn. If you have cotton yarn, maybe it will be easier. It generally is, since it's a bit more slippery. This is me doing the slip stitch into the beginning of the row, right, to close it off and make the top of the head. This is how I mark my stitches, with a bit of scrap yarn. You can also use a stitch mark if you have one, and that's to make the little ruffles at the bottom of the head, right? That's first the slip stitch, and then 3 double crochets, so pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you do this 3 times, and then slip stitch, and then 3 times slip stitch, 3 times slip stitch around, and then you bind off. Basically, that's the gist of it. And you have to make sure that this is bigger than the body, because this will go over the body, and the top of the body will not be visible. I spent a bit of time on the wings because I decided to go for triple crochet. So you chain 6 for the wings, and when you reach the 6th chain, you wrap yarn over twice, and you go into the chain in the middle, so the 3rd from the hook, and you do 6 triple crochets into that same space. It will end with a little hole, but that can easily be hidden when you sew it, so that's not a problem. And I thought this would be easier than to keep making more and more magic rings, which was what I saw at first, and I was like, nah. For the tail, I also did this, but instead of 6, I went for 5, and instead of triple crochets, I went for double crochets to make it a bit smaller. And it's 5 double crochets into the middle, so 2 from the hook, or rather 3 from the hook. That's it. That's the right bang in the middle. Unlike this one, which is kind of in the middle, it's just enough. You know, it's just enough. But the results is the same as with the magic ring, and I think it's easier. You just wrap it around twice. You go into the hole, pull up a loop, pull yarn over, pull up through two, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. That's why it's called a triple crochet, because you have to go through two loops with more yarn 3 times, right? And I was trying my best to show the progress, and yeah, at the end you just slip stitch into the first chain of the startup chain, right? And you snip the bit after weaving in the end. If you're using a regular needle, sorry, you can. This is me hiding the tail. If you're using a regular needle, you don't have to leave a big tail. You just leave just a bit and weave it in to secure it, and then you sew it with your regular needle and your thread. So two of those for mine. Okay, yeah, this got a bit weird because I screenshotted the PDF, so I added that. The feet are very easy to make, so I didn't bother filming that. Okay, now you have to do what's said here, pause to read or check the PDF. Okay, this is what I ended up with, right? Nothing is sewn in at this point, just showing what it should look like. If you didn't go for a rounder eagle, I found that to be not really what I wanted. Right, so I just sewed one of the wings to show how I did it. I use a tapestry needle, but again, you can use a regular needle. You just have to do it with maybe a matching color of thread, and you have to go around a couple more times to make sure that it's really secure. I think I didn't really try it, but I think it's enough. Like, you can, for example, sew the little pom-poms that I'll use for the eyes with a regular needle. I just chose to glue them on because it was easier. And I had the hot glue gun. Yeah, 5 minutes crafts extravaganza. No, it's just because it's easier and more secure. You don't have to use hot glue for everything. I mean, you could use, for example, super glue, or even regular white glue, or UA2 glue. You know, this is what it should look like after all the parts have been sewn, except from the head and the body. At this point, the head and the body are not connected, and you will see are not sewn. This eagle has been decapitated. This is where I keep my needles, my regular needles, and that's what you can use to sew the head to the body, because white, yeah, it should be a matching color. These pom-poms are what I'll use for the eyes, okay? And this is what I'll use to attach them, just hot glue. This is where the point where you stuff it, okay? And this is where I say that everything will sound different depending on the yarn. And yeah, here's my final result. I think it turned out quite okay. And this is going crazy.